Hello, good day to me, Andy here, and this is Talking Really. Now, what we're going to talk about today is PIP assessment tips. So, some good advice if you're going to do a PIP assessment, either by phone, interview, or whatever. Some tips from the Daily Record, which was published a while back, but nevertheless, it is a good thing to go through. And of course, I think the main thing is to be prepared. That's my tip, I think, is I had my assessment a long time ago now. It was, it was when they were transferring people from DLA to PIP, and I was shitting a brick. I really was, because I used my car to get around, obviously, but also to go to work. And if they took away my car, they would take away my business and my work and my income. So I was actually really, really worried about it, and I contacted the MP, a local MP, Andrew Morrison, who's a complete waste of time, unfortunately. His advice was, oh, wait and see. You might be all right. Well, that is no good when you are relying on your car to get around, and you've had it since you were since you were allowed to drive, 17 years old. Of course, I've had DLA, and the one before that was disability allowance. I think, what was it called? Yeah, was it called mobility allowance or something like that? Anyway, I had the original, and obviously from the age of 15 when I first got that. And I had to go to see a doctor in those days. It was all done by proper doctors, GPs. So I can guarantee you that what he put down on the form was actually medical. And quite clearly, he agreed. And from then onwards, I got DLA, or whatever it's called then. And of course, DLA changed a few years later. I can't remember when it was, but then they moved it from there to PIP, and I think it must have been around about 2013 or 14, somewhere around there, when it actually was changed over for me. So that is now nearly 10 years I've had the new PIP, and of course I've got the high rate, so I'm actually, on the high rates for both of them, so that's quite good. I'm definitely on high rate for mobility anyway, so put it that way, because I've got the car. I kept the car, and I did go to see the various people that I could go and ask about, and they all said the same thing. Don't worry about it, just let it happen. It's like, what sort of guarantee is that? Anyway, I was prepared, and I believe I had to go to Bristol or Salisbury, one of the two. I think it was Bristol, for a PIP assessment. And to be honest with you, I think overall I was quite lucky with the person that I had. She was allegedly an ex-ambulance driver or ambulance technician, and it was her first sort of foray into doing these assessments. So she was quite new at it. But even from day one, as soon as I walked in the door, I scooted in the door, and I had a friend with me who came with me for moral support, and also he was one of them people that goes around helping disabled do these assessments. They come as a witness, so he was there taking notes and things like that. And of course, from the moment I went in there, I put my assertion on the meeting. I'll tell you why. The letter I had inviting me to go had in the description that if my application, the DWP will contact my GP and my medical people, and they will get information about me and my condition. And it was in black and white, and I thought, yeah, I bet they don't. So that very morning, I went down to the GP surgery. Obviously, I pre-warned them I was going to come down, and I got them to do a little letter like not signed for, but because it was like signed but not seen, whatever they call it. But they put in a letter that they had not had any contact from DWP right up to that point about my medical records. So the DWP were lying from the start. Anyway, I showed the letter to the woman. She made a note of it, and quite from then on, I think it was all downhill. To be honest with you, because if they're going to do a medical assessment on you, then surely they should have medical information, and they didn't. And it didn't tell me to bring anything. It just brought myself. Yeah. So being prepared and being confident enough to stand up for yourself. Anyway, I've waffled on a bit, and of course I want to go through this article. Obviously this is a bit outdated now, but there are 66% of all assessments, including new claims, awards, reviews and change of circumstances, and they are conducted basically over the phone. So I had a face-to-face. Now obviously 7% of all these conducted over that period were done in person and face-to-face. There were 18.1% paper-based assessments, and 7% completed a video call. So at the end of October 2023, which was last year, that's quite a long time now, 294,000 new claims waiting to be processed. And of course there's lots more claimants who are waiting for the award review. So now you need to prepare. Obviously what's saying there is preparing for this thing. Can be quite traumatic. So if you are invited, then obviously you could receive all of this money that they keep on going on about. And of course in Scotland it's different now. It's the ADP, so they've obviously changed it. The consultation process is slightly different, and face-to-face will only take place if necessary or at the request of you. So if you want to have a face-to-face and you don't like phone calls or you don't like whatever, then you can request it, which is a good thing, I think. I think it's easier to deal with people. Obviously they're talking about, right, so the next part is talking about how your condition affects you. This is the most important part of it. So get over yourself, have a little think about it, write down some information that you don't want to forget, and always think about your worst day. Okay, so this can be hard to do, but it will really help. And of course make sure that they write it down. Now if you have things like difficulty with walking up steps without help, or remembering to go to appointments, how your condition affects you from day to day, what a bad day is like. On a bad day I can't walk at all, or on a bad day I'm so depressed I can't concentrate. It's also a good idea to have a copy of your claim form that you did with you, so you can refer to it, and that includes any sort of assessment you're going to do. So have your claim form, get a copy of it. Don't send the original and then just not keep a copy, because you will not remember what you put. So observations on what you say and do. Obviously they're going to be looking at you and asking you probably to do stuff, and obviously questioning you. So if you say you came on the bus without anything else, clarification, they could make a note and say that you can travel on buses alone, on public transport, unless you highlight it otherwise. So it's always important to be careful what you say. So being careful what you say to them, because they will take it against you. And remember, they're not here for your health, as it were. They're not here to give you the award. They're trying to find something that they can use. And if you allow them, obviously being assertive, then you can make sure it goes your way. Now, obviously during the interview, you may be asked to describe how you complete tasks, such as preparing and cooking food, getting washed and dressed, and how you move around. Now, don't rush your answers. Think about it. Have a little look at your notes, and remembering that they are looking at your claim form as well. So you've already been asked these questions, so you can refer to it. Break down your answer and go through step by step, because you need to paint an accurate picture of how your health condition affects you. Now, it may seem like a long drawn out process, but definitely demonstrate exactly your way that you do things. So how do you get your socks on in the morning? Do you have a device? Do you have a person helping you? Things like this. Describe that process, and they will make sure that they write it down as well, because that's very important. Now, they will obviously be looking at you as well to see your mental state. For example, whether you look or sound depressed or happy, tense or relaxed, and how you cope with the interactions. Now, obviously, don't let them rush you. You don't have to answer quickly. So if they're trying to get you to answer yes or no, then just take your time. Refer to your notes. Be assertive, and you can say things like, please just wait a moment. I'm thinking about the answer that I'm going to give you, because I want it to be accurate. Now, there will be some people who will not have the confidence of that, which is why it's nice to have somebody with you who could perhaps prompt you, so they could remind you to have a look at your notes or write down something that you're not sure about. But this obviously is going to help you to feel comfortable, like a friend or a relative or carer or somebody who is professional. They can take part in discussions, and they can also make notes for you. You have to find out more about the place you're going to go. In my case, it was very lucky. It was on the ground floor, and there was a lift, but I was on the ground floor, and it was accessible for my scooter. So you need to ask if there's upstairs or whether there's a lift, or they can accommodate a wheelchair if you need one. Ask how roomy it is, because obviously if you're claustrophobic or anxious, you may find that the rooms are small. Especially in the one building that I was in. It was an old building, and had small rooms, and it was quite tight. If you need to have an interpreter, or if you're deaf and hard of hearing, sign language, do this at least 2 days before you go, so they have time to organise it. And obviously, if you wish to, you can get the assessment person to be the same gender as you, if that's important. So obviously, if you're a woman and you don't want a man to be doing it, then please, because you might want to talk about personal ladies things, then you can request it if you wish. Now, you can request to make an audio recording. You must do this beforehand, up to 3 days before, and ask your provider about the rules for using recording equipment. Now, you may be refused, or you may be told that you can't do it, or you have to have certain special equipment. All of that is debatable, and of course there are people out there who will advise you that you can record, and certainly I didn't ask at the time. I had it on my phone. I had the recording app on my phone. I recorded it. I don't know how good it was, because I never had to use it, but you will not be able to use it in court for a tribunal, because they don't allow it, but you can obviously refer to it to make sure that what they've written down is actually what they said. So it's a good way for you to check.
Absolute horror show. Here's my advice. So PIP is basically a scam where you will tell them what's wrong with you and they will say it isn't. They will reject your claim or lowball you at least once. The most difficult part of the process is actually the emotional effect that it has. It's really difficult. So keep your head up. It will be fine in the end. But the system is designed to wear you down and make you give up. They also just do things that are immoral. So for example, someone will come and assess you or assess you over the phone, and then someone at the office will change what they've written. For example, mine said I was in good spirits when I cried throughout. When they reject your claim or lowball you, you can do either a mandatory reconsideration or an appeal. I would suggest neither. The way I always get mine sorted quickly is to go for a formal complaint. So find something they've done wrong, ask to see your full assessment papers and go through them, and find something that they've said that just isn't true. Isn't it incredible that they do that? The system is an absolute scam. It's awful. Or if they've given you too low points for something, you can say, I told them that this was the case and they've essentially ignored me and put me in this point barrier instead. Bear in mind, you have to be able to do something safely and repeatedly in order for them to be able to assess that you can do it. So they'll ask loads of trick questions like, oh, but when you can do it, how does that go? And then you'll answer and they'll mark you down as you can do it, when actually you can do it once in a blue moon, not repeatedly and safely. Make a formal complaint. Not just complaint. Don't just call them and complain. Make a formal complaint and see how quickly they give you your money.
But that decision is entirely up to you. Now, they may, if they find out you've done it in the interview, they may try to stop the interview. Now, if the location of your face-to-face is more than 90 minutes away, or you have difficulty travelling, you might be offered an alternative location or even a home visit. I think they're quite rare. I think the main thing is don't panic, Mr. Mannering.
Don't panic! Don't panic!
Have yourself prepared, write down your notes, have a copy of your assessment form that you've filled in. Please remember that. Also, when you're sending the form off, always try and get it signed for so you have proof that they've received it, because I never believe anything they say, and you shouldn't believe anything any government department says, because they're liars, and anything they can do to try and cut money from you is what they will do. It's a very sad world that we live in, right? Nobody's honest anymore. Well, they never were, but that's beside the point. Now, if you are assertive and you go into this with your eyes open and you are prepared, then I think you'll be fine. Obviously, bear in mind that if you do get refused, then you can always do the mandatory reconsideration, or you can do a tribunal, or both. If you need help, there are plenty of organisations, and of course I can advise you as well. I offer a one-to-one service, so if you need some help, then please do contact me. So just to remind you that when you go on to this website, www.talkinreally.co.uk, you'll find at the top of the page there'll be a button to book me. You'll get this, which is a pick time page, and it has 4 different meetings at the moment, and then it will ask you for some details, and you'll then have to go on and pay the fee. So there we go. That's very simple to do. If you do want a one-to-one, then please make a booking. Don't forget, thumbs up, like and share, and of course the main thing is to subscribe. Now, unfortunately, we have views are from people that are not subscribed, which is very, very disappointing, because if you really like the video, you know, what harm is there? It's a little button. Just go and click it and subscribe and increase my numbers and help me out by showing YouTube that this channel is, well, it's worth it and also valuable to you. Because if you don't interact with the channel, YouTube think that it's a load of rubbish and they won't promote it, which is what's happened in the past. So please help me out. Subscribe, like, share, and when I say share, I mean take the video, comment the link, and share it on your Facebook page or on your social media. Copy the link to the video, and then people can see it and they can click on it and come and watch it, and obviously then hopefully they will subscribe. Okay, that's it for today. Have a good day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.